What's up, guys?
Hey guys.
Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about capital punishment, and an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind, or does it? Today I'll be talking about why I believe the death penalty should be taken away from the United States, and I think that is the history of the death penalty. It's been around since the beginning of human head history. In Europe, it's been around, in all the continents and all the cultures, it's been around, and today in society, the United States of America has been slowly removing the death penalty. Multiple states have removed it, and some states still have it, and so I'm going to be talking about that. I believe that the death penalty should be taken away because innocent people die. It costs the state millions of dollars, and race and place determines who lives and dies. Alright, starting with my first point. Innocent people die. It puts innocent lives at risk. People who are wrongly convicted of the death penalty are sentenced to death, and some of the bad guys get away. A study that I found had 4.1% of people who are actually executed are actually innocent, and I just can't stop. I cannot stand by a system that executes innocent people. And also, we're not able to take it back. Once we execute someone, we're not able to, because sometimes in prison sentencings, people are found innocent and then they get out of prison, but we're not able to do that with the death penalty. It's kind of just like, oh, they're innocent, but they're dead, so we can't do anything about it. And for my visual aid today, it's this photo right here. This guy's name is Wayne Felker. He was executed in 1996 for murder. He had a family, but he didn't actually do the murder. Due to an unfair trial, he was convicted, and an investigation after he died further found that the jury had not nearly enough evidence to convict him, and so he should not have been sentenced to death. And my next argument is that it costs a lot more taxpayer money than you thought. Death row is a very expensive process. It can take decades. And one case in Texas, it actually costed the state $2.3 million. And the reason why it can get so expensive is because, like I said, it can take decades for someone to do it, and you need really experienced lawyers. So after decades of doing it with experienced lawyers, the money adds up. And another reason why it gets so expensive is DNA evidence is actually really expensive. And imprisoning someone costs a lot less money than to execute them. The average cost of an inmate is around $31,000 a year in the United States. And removing the death penalty would save a lot of money that the government could spend elsewhere. And taking away the death penalty would also remove injustices in court. Oh, I forgot to go down, but yeah. Another thing is California spends $137 million per year just on the death penalty. Alright, and with my next point, race and place often determine who lives and dies. Skin color has a big effect on the outcome. African Americans are convicted at a much higher percentage than any other race. And often certain people are accused for less harsh crimes, and they will have a death penalty just because of that. And being sentenced to death also doesn't depend on if you've committed the worst crime, but where your crime is committed. So all you can see in the red states that those are where the death penalty is still legal, and a lot of states like California and Texas, they execute people at a much higher rate. And the South is known for not being able to afford poor people attorneys, and so they'll either get no attorney or worse attorneys than other people. And so if you're, especially uneducated people, they won't be able to defend themselves. So if they don't have an attorney, or if they have a really bad attorney, more people die because of that, because they can't defend themselves in court. And now we can see that the death penalty isn't applied fairly. Next slide. Now let me ask you this: is supporting a system that kills innocent people, costs the state millions of dollars, and isn't fairly run a good system to have? Just think about that for a second. I hope this speech was able to give you further insight on capital punishment.